Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! This is unbelievable. Over 50,000 views have come in on this YouTube channel. Thank you so much for all the love and support you have shown this YouTube channel and continue to show it, because I never ever thought I would create a YouTube channel that would offer you advice about a zombie invasion and get over 50,000 views and 3,000 subscribers. This is crazy. You know, you can never be too sure if your boyfriend is a zombie or a werewolf or a vampire, so you've got to be always prepared for this kind of thing. So I guess these videos are offering you helpful tips on what to do. Of course, you know you have to shoot a werewolf with a silver bullet. You know you have to stake a vampire. You know you have to stay out of dodge of an alien mothership, which apparently is 112 days away now from invading the planet. And I want to put it out there that if there is an alien mothership on the way to kill us all, I just want to say that there is no niche I would rather die with than the fans of Descendants and Zombies, because you girls have been incredibly supportive of me when you didn't have to be. Before all of you, I was just a loser. I would upload videos to YouTube that pretty much made no sense, about video games, about different aspects of entertainment, professional wrestling. I would cover it on professional wrestling news websites, so write a column, upload it to a website, probably get a couple of hundred views. And now you girls have revitalized my career, and you brought me back from the dead. Thank you so much for having done that. You've given me a second chance and a new lease on life. Without a doubt in my mind, Descendants and Zombies will forever hold a special place in my heart for the powerful messages of acceptance, because that's really what Zed and Addison strived to achieve by the end of all 4 Zombies movies, was acceptance by their peers and to fall in love with each other for eternity. And that's exactly what they got. Their wish came true at the end of the movie, and that was a beautiful way to end the zombie story of Zed and Addison, and a new story now to embark on with Malachi Burton and Freya Sky's characters Victor and Nova, who look adorable together. They are going to be absolutely fabulous. A unique pairing, no doubt, but I think they're really going to do a fabulous job carrying on the legacy of the Zombies franchise. The only thing that I am in fear of about this is Malachi Burton's arrogance. And I say this because I've been seeing a lot of photos he's been posting on social media, and I know they have to be approved by the Disney company, and I don't know why Disney, for the life of me, is approving photos of him in a gym working out. He's throwing up photos of himself using the bench press machine, and it kind of got me questioning Malachi Burton's place in the Disney company right now. Is he really feeling high over himself now that he's posting photos of himself like this? Hopefully his arrogance doesn't get the better of him, and I hope for the best for his future. I was a big fan of Malachi Burton when I first saw him as part of the Zombies franchise, to be honest with you. Because if there was ever a character to replace Zed, it would be this guy. And now I've kind of got my doubts because of some of the photos he's been throwing up, but I'm going to choose to give him time before I start criticizing him, because in all honesty, I think that he's just trying to figure out his place with this franchise and within the franchise. A lot of people have been raising the question to me about if they think they were going to keep the Zombies title attached to this one. It could be called Dawn of the Vampires too, the more that I think about it, because of course the Victor and Nova are not zombies. They have had no history with zombies. Zombies was created off of Zed and Addison's characters, and how Zed wanted to strive for acceptance in a world where zombies weren't accepted following the explosion of a soda plantation near a chemical plant. And that's exactly precisely where I live. 5 minutes out the road from where I live from a soda plantation and a chemical plant that could explode. And that is a challenge in its own right. Just imagine waking up every morning before dawn, looking out through your window to see if the chemical plant has exploded or the soda plantation side by side simultaneously has exploded. It's a really messed up situation, but if one is going to create Descendants and Zombies video, he not only has to create Descendants and Zombies videos for you, he has to live his life like Descendants and Zombies for you. And to be honest with you, there is no better way I'd like to live my life than by talking about Descendants and Zombies for you on this YouTube channel. With all the views I'm getting, with all the subscribers, the subscriber count is always going up on this YouTube channel. And I want to say thank you to the newest subscriber, 2,778 subscribers. Just when you think nobody is going to hit your subscribe button, someone always does. You know, that just goes to show there's just this very loyal Descendants and Zombies fan out there who doesn't care what anybody else thinks of you. They are going to hit the subscribe button, which has proven to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that the love of the Descendants and Zombies universe is unconditional. And nobody else out there can tell me any different, because the Descendants and Zombies universe will love you unconditionally until the day that you die, because they know that you create Descendants and Zombies videos for them. Shout out to every other YouTuber out there. If you want to fall in love with a niche that will respect you until the day that you die and hold you close within their hearts, it's Descendants and Zombies. And for the life of me, I don't know why people would choose to criticize Descendants and Zombies for as long as they have. They've been criticizing it for years. They criticized it earlier this year before the movie was even released. The music videos, Place to Be, and Don't Mess With Us, received so much criticism. But the songs were so beautiful on this soundtrack. That was the thing about these songs. These duets between Malachi Burton and Freya Sky's characters, Victor and Nova, Dream Come True, Go My Own Way, which was a beautiful spin on the Wilson Phillips classic from the 1980s. I think that this really presented a vibe of a camp rock Hannah Montana production. You could throw in a bit of the Jonas Brothers. Disney's had some incredible singers over the years and had some incredible duets. Don't Want to Change a Thing by Demi Lovato and Joe Jonas. The Camp Rock reunion a couple of weeks ago was fabulous, I have to say that. But these duets that we saw in Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires were absolutely beautiful. And it really put into perspective how one can really find their true love. You know, I've lived my life wanting to find someone that I could spend the rest of my life with. I've never had the opportunity to do that. Now, I've been involved in a lot of relationships over the years, but I've never had a relationship where I could honestly say that I found my true love, because I felt like a lot of people really didn't understand me. And this is how Victor and Nova came to be. They saw each other initially in their dreams, but they found a mutual understanding. And they created a bond off of that mutual understanding. And I do apologize. There is a zombie apocalypse apparently happening just outside my home. Every time I shoot a video about Descendants of Zombies, a zombie apocalypse apparently breaks out. So if I have to bolt and go through my window, I do apologize for you guys. But yeah, one can find their true love. That was a very powerful message that Zombies tried to instill in all of our minds. And I did love how they switched up the location from Toronto to New Zealand, because everybody in New Zealand is so happy. And just so happy to be a part of a project such as Zombies. They were so happy to be a part of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. While Toronto is a beautiful place, I think New Zealand has a more open concept. It makes it feel as if you're more immersed in a zombie invasion and a zombie apocalypse, and a world where humans and zombies could kind of coexist. I've worked with a lot of people in New Zealand. I've experienced firsthand how friendly and how kind they are. They really touch your heart and hold a special place in your heart for forever and always. And I think that this experience with the Zombies cast has changed their lives for the better. Obviously, we've seen a connection derived from what happened with Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, and all the work ethic that went into this, because we've seen some beautiful friendships created from it. For years, the friendship between Zed and Addison, portrayed by Mila Manheim and Meg Donnelly, created a beautiful friendship. And now this friendship, portrayed by characters that portrayed the characters Victor and Nova, Malachi Burton and Freya Sky, carries on that fabulous tradition. I love when two actresses and actors really hit it off, because it really shows not only great chemistry, but a mutual respect that they have for each other. And if you noticed, at the Worlds Collide tour, when Freya Sky performed that song Gold Is Gone off of her EP and Malachi Burton did her introduction, he held her close to her and he said that she had a long way to go, but she had a very bright future, and she wanted the fans to show her the respect that she deserved. And you guys responded in such dramatic fashion. You let Freya Sky know how you felt the better, and because you let Freya Sky know how you felt the better, she was reduced to tears. And I absolutely love that, because it showed the connection not only the fans had with Freya Sky, but with Freya Sky having a connection with the fans, which was mutual. And there's no better feeling in this world when the feeling is mutual, because sometimes you can go out there and give it your all, give it 110%, as the old cliche saying goes, for a performance of a hit song that you believe is going to make it to the top of the Billboard charts, and the audience is not going to love it. More times than often enough, the audience responds very differently than what you perceived or expected the audience to. But Freya Sky went out there and she exploded, and her popularity has exploded even more now because of the portrayal of the character Nova, who's going to be carrying in the footsteps and carrying that torch that Meg Donnelly so proudly carried for over 7.5 years. I'm not going to lie to you guys, it was a really emotional time for me when I noticed that Mila Manheim and Meg Donnelly were saying goodbye to the franchise. Let me just say that. Because they offered so much to this franchise. They really brought it to life in a way that I don't think any two actors or actresses would have been able to do it. Their chemistry was unbelievable and very unique, and very different from any other Disney Channel movie or project that I've had the opportunity to cover. So when I heard that they were parting ways with the Zombies franchise and going to be heading behind the camera to offer creative sense and creative direction, I was excited for them to embark on other opportunities, but I know for certain I'm really going to miss them, because they still have a long way to go and so much to offer. Now, that doesn't mean that we won't see them make cameos in Zombies 6, Zombies 7, Zombies 8, what have you. Some people even believe we'll see up to 10 Zombies movies in this franchise, depending on how many characters we see their introduction into it. You know, for the life of me, I don't know how someone can sit by their podcast and say we're running out of supernatural creatures to see their introduction into the Zombies franchise, because we're really not. And I hope many of you don't ever believe that, because there are so many supernatural creatures with such a illustrious history that could be discovered by the Zombies franchise. There are witches, there are goblins, there are sirens, there are gargoyles, there are so many creatures of supernatural historical value value that could be seen into the Zombies franchise. So should we be closing the book on the Zombies franchise, whether or not it's going to be called Zombies 5, if it's going to be a different title? I mean, that's what one assumes right now. That's why all the graphics are being created and distributed the way that they are, because we're just assuming it's going to be called Zombies 5. But as fans raise concern over the title, with no zombies being involved in this one, leading up to werewolves, aliens, and vampires to kind of coexist in one world, I think a new franchise could have a new title added to it, and a lot of really unpredictableness and a really unpredictable feel, if you would, could be added to this. Fans have really got me thinking about what a new title of this one could be, because Zed is no longer going to be in the lead. Zed did a fabulous job, zombieing out, turning his zombie abilities on and off all the time with a Z-band. I often wish that I had a Z-band to kind of freak out on a lot of people. When I would go to high school, I went to high school with a lot of really ridiculous people sometimes, and what I mean by ridiculous is they would kind of get up in your face for no particular reason, and you would kind of want to vertical suplex them. You probably want to be a member of the wrestling team just to vertical suplex them, because they would get on your nerves. I would go to school, and I would see some guy treating his girlfriend with such disrespect, and I would want to kick his ass so bad that it would feel like vertical suplexing him. So I wish I was in possession of a Z-band just to zombie out to do that, and I'm sure a lot of people wanted to do that. And of course, then I mentioned how you can never be too sure if your boyfriend, for instance, is a vampire, and I've had many encounters over the years where I thought I went to school with a bunch of vampires. I lived across the road from a vampire. I've been involved in a lot of really ridiculous situations, but funny stories that I love telling on this show. Come to think of it, I don't even think I've got a girlfriend that's actually even watched any of my videos on YouTube. You girls have been so supportive of me, I can't thank you enough. Wherever you are watching this video or hearing my voice out in the world tonight, just know that I appreciate you for being a Descendants of Zombies fan, and I love the fact that you're here. With over 50,000 views put up on this YouTube channel, I don't know where I want to be tonight rather than this place. Sitting here on this podcast microphone talking about Descendants and Zombies has really meant so much to me. And just before I jumped on this podcast, I watched a couple of Kylie Control's videos of her dancing and having so much fun being one of the stars of Descendants, and it was so much fun. I think the music in Zombies, though, ultimately was better than the music in Descendants. I really think that it got to a point where the music in Zombies became better than some of the songs that we were hearing in Descendants, and I'll tell you why. Every song presented a different melody. That was the interesting thing about the Zombies music and the Zombies soundtrack. By Zombies 4, the music ultimately got better. So I don't understand why so many critics would criticize Zombies in the way that they did and shed the light on it that they did. If anything, a positive vibe came from all the music in Zombies. If you really have an ear for music, because a lot of people in the music industry claim to have an ear for music, so why would you criticize music for the Zombies 4 soundtrack the way that you did? So many millions of kids loved songs like Place to Be. They were shouting up for it to be played at the Zombies Descendants Worlds Collide Tour more than any other song. And I think that they have a better ear for music than people who are actually musicians in the music industry, or people who are aspiring to be creative artists. If you're really creative and you claim to have an ear for music, then why don't you have a greater appreciation or sentimental value attached to the Zombies franchise? Because there are so many beautiful songs with so many different melodies presented that could go so many different directions and in so many different ways. So if you really have an ear for music, appreciate the Zombies soundtrack, or I'm going to kick your ass. Because there are so many people out there who love Descendants and Zombies who deserve to be given credit where credit is due. The collaboration of this music was absolutely fabulous. The acting that went along with the musical was beautiful, and it was one of the best musicals I think I've seen since High School Musical. So I think that Zombies soundtrack is up there with Descendants soundtrack. While Descendants may be selling more tunes on iTunes and Spotify, Zombies is coming right behind it with a rating of 6.2 to Descendants with a rating of just 6.4, which isn't much of a difference, a 0.2 of a decimal of difference, but it's really an amazing testament to how far Zombies has come. And I really don't think 7.5 years ago they thought Zombies was going to get to this point. A year ago, mind you, I never thought this YouTube channel would exceed the expectations that I had for it. I thought maybe I'd throw up about 100 videos and probably get, a couple of hundred subscribers. I never ever thought I'd see, 3,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel, and there are more to come, because there are thousands of Zombies fans on YouTube watching Descendants and Zombies videos all the time. And as a YouTube creator, I can only hope that you're going to hit my subscribe button. That's the biggest wish and the greatest wish perhaps that I have as a YouTube creator, that's really the greatest wish that any YouTube creator has out there, is the hope that somebody is going to hit his subscribe button, he or she's subscribe button, and appreciate their content. And every single time somebody hits my subscribe button, I want you to know that I appreciate you, and I love the fact that you're here. I've always wanted to be a vampire slayer in the Zombies franchise and live the Tom Cruise life and dangle from the propellers of a helicopter shooting thousands of zombies when I least expected it to. And I have always been prepared for a zombie apocalypse. I'm not going to lie. Going to the dollar store and pick up the necessary essentials like food, water, and medical supplies has become a habit of mine every single day of my life. Because, of course, the world is expected to end by the end of 2025. It's either going to be taken by an alien invasion, which is supposed to happen in under 113 days and counting, or the world is just going to blow up by the end of 2025. I don't know. I don't know where people make these ridiculous predictions, but I have seen the reports of an apparent alien mothership on the way to Earth to kill us all. I just want to put it out there like I did earlier on the broadcast, that if there is an alien mothership watching this video by some kind of special transmission, I'm ready to die. I'm good to go, because I have the love and support of each and every person who ever said they were a Descendants and Zombies fan, and because your love is unconditional, you deserve to hear way better than what you've been hearing about Descendants and Zombies, because I think a lot of people just try to find the negative in Descendants and Zombies, and for the life of me, I really don't know why. Because Descendants and Zombies has taught us to be stronger, has taught us to stand up for what we believe in, encouraged us to stand up against our bullies, which is something that a lot of schools really don't do a lot to help with the issue. Of course, they try to deaden the severity of it, but one can never deaden the severity of how a person's soul or heart may be hurt from how they feel about each other. I think it has a lot to do with how a bully is dealing with his own form of insecurities. He or she is dealing with his own form of insecurity, and they really try to take it on each other. You know, I went through this in high school. I was bullied a lot. I had everything done to me that you could possibly have done to me. I was thrown into lockers, I was tripped up in hallways, I was called names, I was made fun of. And for no particular reason. I was always the geek chasing after the school bus like Peter Parker chasing after Mary Jane in the Spider-Man movies until some girl who felt bad for me and sorry for me would stop the bus. We've all had an experience where we've been backed into a proverbial corner, mind you, but we've all found our way out of it and back into the light, out of darkness and back into the light. Because as the old saying goes, you're never afraid of the dark. You're just afraid of what you can't see. And I think that we could make more sense of what was in the dark. We would never be afraid of it. And we would have more courage to stand up for what we believe in. And that's what Zombies has instilled in their minds while representing a second chance at life. Which is pretty much what the Zombies franchise has given me. The reason why I feel so in touch with the Zombies franchise is because it really did give me a second chance at life. And a second chance at a rebirth of my career. And this didn't happen because I uploaded a bunch of Descendants and Zombies videos for you all to one shot. I came on here over a year ago, and I promised you that I would upload hundreds of Descendants and Zombies videos. And because I followed through with that promise, you followed through with your promise of subscribing to this YouTube channel. And I know this to be true because some of the very first subscribers that I've ever put up on this YouTube channel are still here. That could be on anybody else's YouTube channel talking about Descendants and Zombies this evening. But you're here because you love this YouTube channel, and I just don't want to let you down. What I mean by I don't want you to let you down, I want you to make sure that there is a video up here on this YouTube channel. I want you to know that there's going to be a video up here on this YouTube channel about Descendants and Zombies, and there will be a video up here forever and always talking about Descendants and Zombies. No matter what time of day they're uploaded, I want you to know that I will never ever quit on each and every one of you, and this YouTube channel will forever and always be here for you to help you make sense of your favorite franchises. Because when I say I loved Ruby Rose Turner, I really did love Ruby Rose Turner. I thought Ruby was the most beautiful soul that could have ever portrayed the character Bridget, and did such a fabulous job portraying the character Bridget in such a way that she will never ever be forgotten, and she will forever and always be missed by me. While I can't speak for every other radio show host or columnist on YouTube who uploads these videos, I know that Ruby will forever and always be missed by me, because Ruby really helped me make sense of life when I really couldn't. And then, of course, Ruby had this beautiful voice on Songs of Sweeter When You Were, and, you know, it's got me holding on to the hope that one day Ruby will see her reintroduction into the Descendants franchise because of just how powerful of a portrayal of the Bridget character she gave us. There's a rumor going around that Liamani Segura and Kylie Control will lend their voices to a remix of Life is Sweeter When You Are, and I would go for that. But again, I think about Ruby Rose Turner's voice being incredibly satisfying on that song, and I don't know if I'd want to hear a remake of Life is Sweeter When You Are without Ruby. I don't know if I'd want to hear a song that was specifically written for Victor and Nova to be sung by somebody else like Milo Manheim and Meg Donnelly, because Milo Manheim and Meg Donnelly's songs were reversed and given the responsibility to Freya Sky and Malachi Burton to sing songs like Someday, which were originally written by Milo Manheim and Meg Donnelly for a duet. So to put their voices on it sounded a bit different, but that didn't mean they didn't do a fabulous job with it. But for me, people like Ruby and Milo and Meg will always have their specific songs written for them. For instance, I just listened to the song Where Do I Belong from Zombies 2 when Zed and Addison first broke up before I signed on to this podcast for the final video tonight. And it was such a beautiful song. It really put into perspective just how valuable time is and how precious relationships can be for having a mutual understanding of what each other wants out of life. Because if you don't have that mutual understanding and that grasp of reality on a relationship, then you're pretty much wasting your time. If, say, your boyfriend doesn't understand you for who you are and have that same mutual understanding that you do for him, then that relationship is going nowhere fast and is going to crash and burn. I know this from personal experience, and I haven't made a lot of mistakes in my life, because I've admitted to each and every one of you on this show many times that I've made a lot of mistakes, and ladies and gentlemen, I am far from perfect. I never come on here and say I'm the greatest of all time for no particular reason. I know for certain I will go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time, but not because I chose to go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time, because I wanted to go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time, but because all of you made this happen. Because Descendants and Zombies is a franchise that brought us all together. For no particular reason, it brought us all together. It was a passion we all shared in. So why somebody devotes their time to criticizing it so much, I really don't know the reason why. Perhaps because they're jealous and they're envy of what Descendants and Zombies has taught us all. Because it taught us valuable life lessons. It taught us to be stronger people. It taught us to believe in things that we necessarily have never believed in before. And it was still courage in all of our minds, which sometimes we didn't really have. Because we didn't have the support. We didn't have the support of our friends. We didn't have the support of our family on times. And when we felt lost, Descendants and Zombies represented a second chance for everybody who felt lost at that particular point in time. Like 7.5 years ago when I was going through a really rough patch in my life, Descendants and Zombies helped me make it out of it. And all of you helped me make it out of it, because I didn't know this show was going to go anywhere. I didn't know the show was going to exceed over 50,000 plus views. I didn't know this show was going to see 2,778 subscribers, approaching 3,000. But it happened because of each and every one of you. And I realized very quickly that Descendants and Zombies fans are the most supportive fans in the universe. And as I said here earlier, they will love you forever and always, because their love is unconditional. And I'll say this again tomorrow morning on this show, because it deserves to be said and it deserves to be heard. Because I don't think there's a greater appreciation from any show of a host on YouTube, or a host of a show on YouTube, I should say, for his fans of Descendants and Zombies than you hear from me. There is never a video that I upload that I don't express how appreciative I am of each and every one of you as the host of a show. There we go. I must be really suffering from a zombie infection, recording this video as late as what I am. The first video was uploaded this morning at 8:30 a.m., and that's really early for me to upload a video. Who uploads a video at 8:30 a.m.? Unless it's pre-recorded. But before the sun came up this morning, I had a video on here about Descendants and Zombies, Zombies 5 and Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland, and that was truly unbelievable, and the support continues to file in on this YouTube channel. I want you to know, wherever you are in the world tonight, whatever you're going through, everything is going to be okay. Why, you may ask? Because it has to be. And that is something, if that's the final words that I ever say in my lifetime to each and every one of you, there's no better way to go out, there's no better way to die than by telling you that everything is going to be okay. Because we look at the same moon, we look at the same stars, and in every constellation somewhere out there tonight, the words I love you are written in them. You may have to look harder than others to see it, but trust me, it's in there. And know that everything is going to be okay, and you will find your light. That's a saying from Cloud, one of Cloud's famous quotes from Final Fantasy VII, a video game that I was a real nerd over, and I love so much. But I love saying that because one can find their light, no matter how difficult it may seem to be to find. One can find their light. All they need is the love and support of their family, their friends, people that are unexpectedly in their life for no particular reason. It's just amazing to me how people show up in your life, kind of like how Victor and Nova showed up in each other's life when they least expected it at Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires. Because by Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, you could have kind of expected anything. You may have not known what to expect in Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires, but you knew to expect anything. But the least thing I expected was that two people were going to fall in love with each other after seeing each other consistently in their dreams. Thank you so much to the writers and producers of Zombies 4 Dawn of the Vampires for setting the stage for a brand new franchise that I am really excited about, and I'm really excited to cover for you and be here for you for the next year and a half, because we've got about 2 years to a year and a half at maximum before the release window of Zombies 5 is suggesting anything, or whatever they're going to call it, Zombies 5, Dawn of the Vampires 2, I'd go for either. Either title makes for a very unpredictable zombies experience in a zombies universe where humans and zombies could coexist. Whoever thought it? Thank you so much for always being in love with this YouTube channel and having made me the voice of Descendants and Zombies, because honestly, I don't know where I'd be without each and every one of you, but I do know that at the end of every single day when the sun sets over all of our lives, we have each other, because Descendants and Zombies is a passion that undeniably has brought us all together, and a passion that I don't know where I'd be tonight without the help of. Thank you guys so much for giving me a second chance and a new lease on life. Thank you so much for all the love and support you have shown this YouTube channel and will continue to show for many years to come, because we've got 2 years to go between now and Zombies 5, and a year at least before Descendants 5 touches down, but I'm really excited to be here to cover it for you in 2026, 2027. It's going to be a fun ride, and one that I feel incredibly appreciative to be along for the ride for. What an experience, what an incredible journey you girls have me on. I guess the only thing left to be said is for us all to, well, stay calm and zombie on. We will talk again tomorrow morning. Until then, keep kindness in your heart as I will keep you in mind. Be kind to one another, because kindness really does go a long way in this world. Trust me, you will find your light. Bye, YouTube. We will do this again in just a few hours from, well, actually, tomorrow morning is when we'll do it again. Tomorrow morning. Bye, YouTube. We will do this again tomorrow morning. Stay calm and zombie on, and be kind to one another.